Well, there it is. There we are. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to Ask K Podcast. As I told you, we were changing the name to Ask K Podcast. And so today I apologize that I'm an hour and a half late just because um it it wasn't working. I was having a lot of technical difficulties. I don't know why, but the devil is a lie. He always messing, always trying to stop something. And especially when God is in it and trying to give a message or a word, the devil always tries to come and thinks he can snatch it away or stop it or things of that nature, but we are here to serve him. Notice that he has no keys to this kingdom, because God is in control all the time. Amen. And so for that reason, we're going to jump right on into it. This today is it's near and dear to my heart. It may be near and dear to other people, to you guys as well. So today I want to talk about something that most people don't talk about, we shy away from. And then I have seen some things that on the news. And so I kind of was like, well, this is something, this is a time to address it. And so in my time of prayer, when I talk to God about things, I ask, what are my topics? What should I talk about? What can people relate to, or may hear, want to hear, right? And so today we're talking about when love hurts, supporting families facing drug addictions. And if any of you have ever been on drugs, or if you know someone um, who is a drug addict and you were on the receiving end of that, I want to talk about today, how we can help families cope or individuals cope when a loved one is struggling with drug addiction, whether it's a child, a spouse, a sibling, a parent. Um, Addiction, it affects everyone. It affects the entire family. Um, but here's the thing, there is hope. And how do I know? Because I'm living proof that there is hope, healing, and help is also available to those who suffer behind it and to those who are actually in it. Going through that struggle. And so I want to spend some time today talking about supporting those families that are facing that point, and in even families that I know, just to kind of touch base on it. I have a lot of guests that came to mind, um, but I wanted this to just be personal, and I think later on, after this, while this airs and people are able to go back and look at it and see it, I would like comments for this particular one. How did you deal with it? How did you overcome those struggles? How did you get from point A to point B? And how did God deliver you from those things, or help you get to a better place, um, as far as being like the receiving end of a person on drugs? So let's go ahead and just kind of dive right on in. How this understanding the addiction as it's a family disease. It definitely is a family disease. It trickles down. And sometimes you have many people in the family on it. Sometimes you have maybe one or two people that is facing it, and everyone tries to help the best way that they can. And so it impacts not only when someone is on this, it impacts, again, like I said earlier, it not just impacts um, the individual who's doing it, it also impacts the family as a whole if they're in the household, right? And so it can affect, emotionally, financially, for sure. And socially, because people tend to want to back away from you. They don't even want to be bothered with you. They don't want to come around. And sometimes people just do this thing where they're going to say, yeah, that's their problem. That's their issue. I'm not going over there. I ain't, you know, I want to just watch, they wash their hands, right? And so, one of the things that I do want to clarify really quickly is that when people tend to think that a person who is on drugs, that it is a choice, it's just a bad choice that they made. Yeah, it was in the beginning a bad choice for them to make it to go and do the things that they did, but it became scientifically, it actually became a brain disease because it took away their molecules. It took away the cognitive ability to think and to make decisions on their own. It also is a spirit. Drugs are a spirit, and they influence the user to continue to do more, but also to hurt. And then it also brings on other spirits that they end up encountering as well. Right. And so some of the common family emotions that people tend to deal with is anger, guilt, shame, denial, and even fear. Those are just a few of the common family emotions that happen. People become angry with a person. Why? Because they start stealing from them or they start lying. Um, or they start to abuse them, right? The fear comes in when they're abusing you or physically abusing you, mentally or emotionally abusing you. Also, when they disappear and you don't know where they are, you can't find them, that can cause fear to take place in individuals' lives. Guilt, because sometimes that person can make the family feel guilty for not helping them, which is basically enabling the addiction. Um, Sometimes shame, the individual will feel shame, they will feel guilt. And sometimes people are in denial. They'll say, oh, no, I'm not doing that. I'm using it. Nowadays, people will say it's a medication. I need this for this. And it doesn't matter what it is, um, whether it's it's pills that the person is on. It just doesn't kind of matter. Okay. And I can all too well relate to these things because I too was a victim of that. Me and my siblings, and so we suffered behind this, and also not was it just me and my siblings, it was also my cousins. You know, they suffered behind it as well because it was like a family thing within our family. The aunts and uncles were all addicted to drugs, and it affected every household. Uh, Sometimes a little bit differently, but it affected every household. And so our family dynamic grew up where we had to deal with drugs. That's what we knew, drugs and abuse. And so um, I was 7 years old. I believe it was the year of 1987. June. We had just gotten out of school, so it was June of 1987 is when I happened to walk down the stairs because they had all nine of us kids. Um, nine, let's see, or 9, 11, 11. It's all 11 of us kids were all in one bedroom playing with toys. And we were like, it's hot. You can't keep kids up in a room like that, right? That many kids anyway. And and so no one could hear me. So I walked down the stairs and I saw what was going on. And I came back upstairs, and my cousin, who God rest his soul, um, I told him what was happening, and I said, I'm gonna yell downstairs for us to go outside. And so I did, and we were told go on outside. And then they said, well, don't come back inside and stuff like that. So we all went outside, and from that moment on, it changed the rest of my life. My life was no longer normal the way it was. It changed the rest of my life. So I wanted to give you that little tidbit that I wholeheartedly understand the trials and tribulations that people go through, the hardship, the toll that it takes on family and children and spouses and things of that nature, because I watched it for a very long time. A very long time. I left home when I was um 18 is when I left home, finally, you know, left home. So for 10 years, 10 and a half years of my life, I lived in a drug addicted home. And so one of the things that we have to learn how to do as we grow and we come into ourselves, and we start to educate ourselves. One of the things you do want to do is educate yourself about this stuff and how you can help that individual or even yourself, right? But this is mostly for families on what you can do for you and to heal and to cope, get through uh, when you have someone in the family that is like this, whether it's your mother, your father, both parents, siblings, again, whoever is affected by it, there are ways to cope and there are ways to get around it to be better. And so I'm going to just discuss a little bit of some things that you should and shouldn't do when it comes to someone in your family that is actually on drugs. Um, and you want to try to help them, and you also want to help the family to understand too. Um, Again, educate yourself about the addiction. Educate yourself. One of the things that I had to learn that as I got older and matured, is that it was a spirit. They picked it up. It was introduced to them by someone or something introduced them to it. Some people, they get introduced to pills because they have an accident or something happens and they go see the doctor, and the doctor, prescribes them a narcotic, and they, keep taking this narcotic, and the way it makes them feel, they become addicted to it at some point. And then when it comes to, marijuana, the world now says because it's a herbal thing that they're trying to legalize that so that people can do it, because doctors, lawyers, CEOs, all kinds of people in this world that you wouldn't even think about, they all smoke marijuana, you know and so that is something that people just, now everybody just does it. um I will never do that. I will never do it. um when it comes to crack cocaine, that is something that a person gets introduced to. And if they get introduced to it and they try it, that's what happens. Sometimes they're on pills and the pills don't help. So they end up going to crack cocaine, or they go to meth or heroin. And they do, stronger, deeper drugs. All of them is strong and bad. And so one thing you want to do is educate yourself. Once a person lets that stuff enter into their body, what they did was they allow a satanic spirit to enter into them. And now it's become a stronghold over their life. Some people can beat it and fight it with the help of God. They get delivered from it and they become sober. And it just takes sometimes one thing in life that really just be like, it's a wake up call for it. if you've heard many testimonies from them, you'll hear a lot of people who used to be on drugs say it was just one day. One day, this one thing happened, and that was it. That was it. So one of the other things that you should do is set healthy boundaries. You want to set healthy boundaries. This is to help protect yourself emotionally and financially. Because if you don't, that person is going to drain you dry. And once they drain you dry, they're going to keep coming back. They'll start stealing out of your home. But you have to protect yourself emotionally and financially. The Bible says to guard your hearts. You have to, because if you don't, you are going to feel very hurt behind this person. You are going to become so hurt that you will lose all love for them. You're not going to really too much care about them anymore. And so you want to set healthy boundaries for yourself to protect yourself again, emotionally and financially. Another thing that you want to do is offer love. Don't enable them, but offer love. Offer them, to go to recovery, not to do things that's destructive or to cause them to go backwards. If your loved one is in a state of mind where they want to do better and they want to get off of the drugs or whatever form of addiction that they have, and they want to come clean and get off of it, don't ever enable them, but offer love to them and set your boundaries, right? And find them a place where they can seek counseling, they can get somewhere, but don't just abandon them. Talk to them, go and see them from time to time. Just kind of be there for them as is needed, because what we don't want to do is just say, oh, you need help, you need to go get help, and then you ban them and you don't talk to them anymore. Sometimes they already feel isolated, and they actually already feel alone. And so because of that reason, you definitely want to just show support, but still create those boundaries. You don't ever want to enable them. You don't want to give them money. Um, and if they say, hey, I'm thirsty, give them something to drink. If they say I'm hungry, give them something to eat. But no money. Here's how you know if a person is really hungry or thirsty, because if you go and get them something and say, okay, well, I'll take you out to eat or go get you something. They say, no, I just need the money. Well, then you don't really you're not hungry or you're not thirsty. They'll get mad at you real fast because they actually are just trying to see if they can get $2, $3 from you or $5 from you to go get high. That's really all it is. And so you want to really take care of yourself. Focus on taking care of yourself. It's so easy to get caught up in trying to take care of that loved one, that family member, and you forget that you do have to take care of yourself. You forget you have a job, you have responsibilities, you have a life. And it is so crucial that you take care of you, that you have self-care, and that you don't try to pour from an empty cup, constantly pouring into someone and not getting anything, because you become depleted then. Okay. And so some of the things that you never want to do with them is cover up their lie or cover for them. You do not want to do that. And you definitely do not want to try to keep giving them money. Okay. Because you can't fix them by giving them money. You'll drain yourself. You just can't. And you never take blame for their addiction. Never. It's not your fault. You didn't do anything wrong. You didn't cause them to make that decision to go down that route or to take that path. You did not do any of that. And so you have to be mindful to know that, again, we go back to the beginning of, I said, it's a brain disease. They did make the decision to do it, but their brain no longer functions appropriately. And you have to remember that their brain doesn't. And so because their brain is not functioning appropriately, then they're going to make really bad decisions, and they're going to make decisions that is going to not only just affect them, but it's also affecting you and the household, everyone. If you are a survivor and you made it out of that environment, like myself, um, then yes, you can find a way to cope and to get through all of these things, without feeling like it was your fault. I never allowed the individuals to make me feel like it was my fault. There were a lot of things that were spoken into my life and over my life that I just refused to receive. And I wouldn't receive it. I would literally, not realizing in that time. I know it now because I remember doing it, but I didn't realize in that time that I was not allowing the enemy to take hold over my life the way he wanted to. I fought. Even though I was a child, I fought. And I would say, I'm not that. I'm not going to be that. Stop speaking that over me. At the time, I didn't necessarily know that. I probably should have said, no weapon formed against me shall prosper. And so life and death are in the power of the tongue, and those who eat it will eat the fruit thereof. So therefore, who love it, they will eat that fruit. At the end of the day, I shall live and not die. I am not a drug addict. I never will be one. And it's not my desire. The grass is greener for me on the other side because I am a child of God. I know that I am. And I know who I serve. And that is not for me at all. I will prosper. I will be blessed. I will have more than enough. I will live the life that Christ came to give for me to have. I'll be successful. I will be smart. And my children will not ever have a mother who's addicted to drugs. And I promise you, I did not realize in those moments, in that time, that I was speaking life over myself, that I was speaking life into my future. And my children did not have that. I worked hard. I became successful. I did everything I was supposed to do. I still move. I still do things. I'm clothed, and God has clothed me and kept me in my right mind. I can make clear decisions. I'm not a drinker. I'm not a smoker. And so I'm telling you, when you do not allow them to blame you for their actions, or allow them to drain you, but that you keep yourself in the format of what God needs you to stay in, you will prosper, you will get through it. And the one thing that I did for the individuals was that I started to pray for them. And so I want to go into a place where this part is the thing that I wanted to really kind of talk about, is helping them without enabling them. And one of the ways that I did the helping was that I prayed. I prayed. I would go in my secret place in my closet and I would pray, and I would say no all the time. I said, no, I don't have nothing for you. And I also created the boundaries where I distanced myself until they got to a place where they could be better in their mind, better in their selves. Then I have to love you from across the street or from across the world, because I cannot have that person in my space. And so sometimes we have to say, hey, I love you. I'll support your recovery, but I cannot and I will not support your addiction. I will not be giving you any money. I will help you if you need clothes. I will help you if you need shoes, but we will go to the Goodwill. Because if you're going to take the stuff that I give you and go sell it, then let me have only paid $20 for it. And I'll let you come and shower, get something to eat, but then you have to go. You cannot stay here. You cannot stay here, because they will come into your house and they will steal. whatever they can steal from you, and they'll be gone and you won't see them for a long time. And you may have something that's so precious to you in your home, and they steal it from you right up underneath your nose and you don't even know it. So helping them without enabling them can definitely be done. You just have to do it um, in such a way that they understand, I'm here for you. I care. I love you. And I'll support when you are ready for recovery. But if you are not ready for recovery and this is not what you want to do, then I cannot help you because I'm not going to fix what's going on with you. And so, and it's okay. That again is creating and setting those healthy boundaries. It's not casting them off into a sea of forgetfulness on an island of, you're all alone. It's just one of the ways that I did it was I prayed. I prayed that they would be healed. I pray that they would get delivered. I pray that they would receive Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior so that they would have salvation. That's what I did. But I also, one of the things that I want you guys to understand too, that I also had to do was I had to ask and pray for God to heal me, for healing indeed. Because why? There's so many times that those who are on drugs, they inflict so much abuse and so much pain into your life. And I don't have time to tell you every story because when I tell you, my memory is so sharp, it's ridiculous that it's so detailed that I can tell you so many stories about so many things that happened to me as a child. Things that I even did myself because it was what I was taught to do. And sometimes as children, we're doing things because this is what we were taught to do. And as we get older, we think that it's normal, and it's not a normal thing. And so for that, we have to just pray and ask God to, to heal us. And let this mind be in you that was also in Christ Jesus. God strengthened me, creating me a new heart. I want to be a new creation in Christ. And so for those reasons, we have to make sure that when we're helping them, we're not enabling them, but that we also continue to keep, boundaries, set healthy boundaries for ourselves and for them. Right. And I don't know who all can relate to this. I know there's many of you who can relate to this, or that somebody who can relate to this, and you should tell them these are some things that you might want to do. And listen, I suffered a lot. I suffered a lot behind it. In my home as growing up, and then when I got married. So when I tell you I know all too well what it is to deal with drug abuse in your home, whether you're a child or whether you become an adult and you're living in your own personal home with it, I know all too well what happens, how it happens, what you go through, the loss, the suffering and the pain and the hurt. And only thing you can really do is just pray. Pray to God. Create those boundaries for yourself, for the individual, and they will be mad at you. And it's okay. It's okay. And you're going to hurt behind it. They may hurt behind it. But somewhere you have to say enough is enough. This has to end. And just move forward, because that's all you can do. That is all you can do. I I'm surprised that I don't have broken bones. Um, and that I'm here. One of the things that I thank God is that I'm actually here to talk about it, to tell the story, because I overcame, I came out, and I didn't allow my circumstance to take over my future. I didn't allow that to happen. And sometimes we do. And I can say without a shadow of a doubt that I have even watched it within my own family, where they have allowed the circumstances to overtake them and they fell right into it. It may not be as bad as the parents, but it's still the same. And so I just admonish any and all of you that if you have someone who is dealing with this type of trauma, this type of an addiction, any type of addiction that is hurting or causing the family harm, one of the things that you got to be mindful of and what you want to do is to get them help. Encourage them to get some type of help. Encourage them to go to recovery. Um, Take them, go with them, and say, "Hey, I'll go with you um, uh, to walk you into this and do this." There are churches, community support. There are helplines that you can call. There's a Samish helpline, it's SAMSHA, and that number is 1-800-662-HELP. Again, that is a help hotline that you can call, which is 1-800-662-HELP. If you know someone who is dealing with drug addiction, let me just put it here in the comments, so that way you guys, you'll know. And this is something, this is literally, um, oh, why is my thing over here? This is something that you all can call. It is a helpline. Is 1-800-622-HELP. And so I have placed the number. If you can see it there, it's a helpline that you can contact, or you can get to your local church, a community support group. Again, family counseling is definitely a must. There needs to be family counseling because without it, sometimes the healing doesn't happen the way that it should. Just because sometimes people feel like, oh, well, we don't need that, we're fine. Yes, you do. You definitely need family therapy, family counseling, because everybody as a whole has to heal from it, and everybody as a whole received it differently. And I know that all too well as I look at my siblings. Each one received the addiction and the abuse differently. They perceived it in a different way. And so we those are things that you want to try to find a way to where we can come together and say, okay, let's try. That all you got to do is try. Even if you just put one foot forward and you just try, at least doing that, that's more than enough. That's absolutely more than enough. And so I thank God that it ended up working. I had to figure out what to do because it was just having technical difficulties. I don't know why. But again, hope is available, healing is available, love is always available, and there is recovery. Is very much possible, and families can heal too from all of this. So I want to encourage you to seek help, talk to a counselor, or attend support groups, those that may be dealing with it or struggling with any form of addiction. I admonish you to seek help, seek a counselor, attend some support groups. You are not alone. Healing begins with one brave step. And love, real love, sometimes can mean tough love. They may not always want it or receive it from you. And maybe you are on the one who's struggling, and maybe you don't like the tough love that you're receiving. But guess what? It's something that is so needed for you in this time, because we want you to heal. We want you to be better. And those who have been on the receiving end, like myself, I want you to know that you too can get past this. You can get through it, and just look for God, and He'll help you along the way. So if this was for you, if you know someone, if it wasn't for you and then you know someone, please like, tag, and share. Leave comments, if you will. I love the comments. I love to hear from people and your thoughts. You can watch the replay. If you did not get to join live, you can always go on to my Facebook page at Kay Odom, or my YouTube page at Revealed Life Coaching. And you can always watch the replays back from any episodes that I've had. And you can comment if you want to talk to me about a topic or anything like that. You can always DM me, or you can give me a call, or email me at mrskodom22 at gmail.com. God bless each and every one of you. And on Thursday, I'm sorry, next week, we are going to talk about minor children, parenting, disciplining minor children. How is that working nowadays, versus 20 years ago? And so stay tuned for that and many more other episodes and shows to come. But again, each and every individual, I want you to remember this one thing again: you are not alone. Healing begins with one brave step, and love, real love, sometimes means tough choices that we have to make, and tough love that has to be given. God bless you. Have a wonderful and prosperous Thursday, and I'll see you soon.